You went to bed feeling just fine. No headache, no warning signs. But the next morning, your words don't come out right. Your arm feels heavy. Your balance is off. One side of your body numb. And just like that, your life has changed. What if I told you this didn't happen because of fast food? Not because of smoking. Not even because you skipped your walk yesterday. But because of something far more innocent. Something you've been told all your life was good for you. Fruit. Yes. Fruit. I'm Dr. Elias Hartley, a neurologist who's spent over 2 decades treating older adults with sudden brain injuries, and I've seen one heartbreaking truth repeat itself. Many strokes happen in people who thought they were doing everything right. They ate clean. They stayed active. They trusted nature's candy. But what they didn't know is this. Certain fruits, when eaten at the wrong time, or in the wrong way, can silently tip the scale. They spike your blood sugar, dehydrate your brain tissue, and clash with your medications. And they do it quietly, without pain, without symptoms, and without giving you a chance to fight back. Every day, millions over 60 reach for fruit believing it's helping their hearts, digestion, and memory. And in many cases, they're right. Fruits can be powerful allies in aging well. But not all fruits. And not in every circumstance. Some, especially when eaten alone at night or in excess, can send your body into biochemical chaos. And what's even scarier? No one ever warned you about it. That's what we're going to fix today. I'm going to walk you through 9 common fruits, yes, fruits you likely have in your fridge right now, that could be increasing your risk of stroke, memory loss, or even brain bleeds, especially after age 60. If you've ever asked yourself, how could something healthy be harming me? This might be the most important video you watch this year. And listen. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, now's the time. Tap that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because the tips I'm about to share aren't general advice. They're crafted for you, for those who've earned their wisdom and want to protect their future. And one more thing. If this video speaks to you, drop a 1 in the comments. If not, type 0, so I can learn what to improve for next time. Your feedback helps me serve you better, because your health isn't a trend. It's your legacy. Let's begin. Fruit number 1, the banana trap. Let's start with one of the most trusted snacks on earth. Soft, sweet, easy to digest, and praised as a heart-healthy superfruit for decades. Bananas. Sounds harmless, right? For most people in their 30s or 40s, it is. But once you cross the threshold of 60, the rules of your body change, especially how your heart, kidneys, and blood vessels handle minerals like potassium. And bananas? They pack a serious potassium punch. As a neurologist, I've seen hundreds of stroke cases, but the ones that haunt me most are the ones that started with innocent habits. Like eating 2 bananas a day. Here's the truth. As we age, our kidneys naturally slow down. They don't filter out excess potassium as efficiently, especially if you're dealing with high blood pressure, diabetes, or taking common heart medications like ACE inhibitors or diuretics. That means potassium, instead of being flushed out, begins to build up in your bloodstream. And what happens next? Your heartbeat stumbles. Your vessels tighten. And, in the worst-case scenario, a clot forms right where your brain needs blood to flow freely. That clot can block everything. In a flash. I'll never forget one particular patient, Mr. Samuel Green, 66. A retired carpenter from rural Minnesota. Vibrant. Sharp-minded. Proud of his healthy routines. Every morning, he'd slice a banana over his oatmeal and take his blood pressure meds with a glass of orange juice. A ritual he followed for over a year. Then one morning, his wife found him collapsed near the bathroom sink. The left side of his body was limp. His speech was slurred. Scans confirmed it, a mild but dangerous stroke. His potassium levels were dangerously high, throwing his heart into chaos and setting the stage for clot formation, all while he slept. He had no idea that 2 simple bananas, combined with his meds, had pushed his body into a dangerous zone. And here's the thing no one tells older adults. You don't need more potassium. Not from supplements. Not from smoothies. Not from giant fruit bowls. Especially not all at once. One large banana carries over 450 milligrams of potassium. If your kidneys aren't working at full power, that's more than enough to throw your system off balance. Now imagine eating that banana late at night. When your blood circulation slows. Your body is slightly dehydrated. And your medications are still active in your bloodstream. That's the perfect storm. Stiff arteries. Thickened blood. And a clot that might not give you a second chance. So what should you do if you're over 60? Especially if you're on heart or blood pressure medications, limit yourself to half a banana per day, eaten in the morning. Always pair it with protein like Greek yogurt or a handful of nuts to slow absorption. Avoid banana smoothies, banana bread, and definitely steer clear of bananas before bedtime. And most importantly, talk to your doctor about how high potassium foods interact with your prescriptions. Because here's the truth. What was once healthy for your younger body may no longer be safe. And if this surprised you, just wait until you find out what grapes, those tiny sweet jewels, are doing to your blood sugar, brain vessels, and silent inflammation. The next fruit might forever change how you snack. If you're still watching and find this valuable, drop a 1 in the comments so I know you're with me. Now let's move on to fruit number 2. Fruit number 2, grapes. They glisten in the sunlight, cool to the touch, bursting with sweetness. Grapes. They've been a favorite snack for generations, scattered across fruit platters, tucked into lunchboxes, or eaten mindlessly during afternoon TV time. But for those over 60, especially anyone with even slight blood sugar instability or fragile blood vessels, these innocent little orbs can silently stir the waters toward a stroke. Most people forget what grapes really are. Concentrated sugar encased in a delicate skin. One handful of seedless table grapes, those ultra-sweet varieties lining every grocery shelf, can dump an intense surge of glucose and fructose into your bloodstream in seconds. And for an aging brain and vascular system, that sugar spike can come with a hefty price. Here's why. As we grow older, our insulin response slows down. Our vessels lose elasticity. And rapid surges of sugar don't just strain the pancreas. They inflame the inner walls of the blood vessels, including those feeding the brain. Chronic inflammation stiffens and narrows arteries over time. Tiny microscopic tears can form. That's where clots take root quietly, with no symptoms, no pain, and often no warning until it's too late. Let me share the story of Ms. Elaine Carter, age 80, a retired literature teacher from Kansas. Sharp-witted, independent, and proud of her clean lifestyle, no soda, no processed snacks, only fresh fruit. Her favorite late morning habit? A large bowl of red grapes. She'd nibble while reading, or snack during the midday news, sometimes eating 2 full cups in one sitting. Then one day, while signing a birthday card for her great-granddaughter, her vision blurred. Her hand trembled. And for a few seconds, she forgot how to spell happy. Alarmed, her daughter rushed her to the ER. Tests confirmed a transient ischemic attack, a TIA, or mini stroke. A temporary clot had blocked blood flow to her brain's left hemisphere. Blood work revealed a post-lunch sugar spike. Her A1C had crept quietly into pre-diabetic range. More concerning? Early signs of low-grade vascular inflammation likely worsened over years of snacking on high-sugar fruit without balancing it with protein or fiber. Here's what I need you to understand. Even healthy foods can be harmful if eaten in the wrong context. After 60, when and what you eat with your fruit matters as much as the fruit itself. Grapes digest fast. They send sugar racing through your veins. Eat them on an empty stomach, especially while dehydrated or under stress, and your blood thickens, your vessels tighten, and your clot risk rises. You won't feel it right away. But day after day, week after week, it builds. Until one morning, it breaks. That's why I always advise my older patients. Never eat grapes alone. Never eat a full bowl. Pair them with almonds, cheese, or Greek yogurt to slow And if you're diabetic or on blood pressure meds, avoid grapes entirely unless your doctor approves. Because what seems harmless might be quietly threatening your balance, memory, or even your independence. Now, if grapes surprised you, wait until you hear about pineapple. Tropical, acidic, and sweet, it's beloved by many seniors. But when eaten at the wrong time, it can disturb your sleep, irritate your brain, and interfere with your blood's ability to clot. Let's move on to fruit number 3, pineapple, the acid sugar storm that strikes at night. Fruit number 3, pineapple. There's something radiant about pineapple. Golden. Juicy. A tropical kiss on the tongue. Many of my older patients enjoy it as a guilt-free dessert after dinner, believing it's light, healthy, and great for digestion. But what most don't realize, and what deeply concerns me as a neurologist, is how this fruit, under the wrong conditions, can quietly tip the body toward a nighttime stroke. Pineapple contains bromelain, a powerful enzyme that breaks down protein. In moderation, it helps digestion. But in excess, or when combined with certain medications, it can interfere with blood clotting, reducing platelet function and increasing the risk of either bleeding or forming abnormal clots. That's a dangerous equation for those over 60, whose blood vessels are already thinner, slower, and more fragile. Now add sugar to the mix. 1 cup of pineapple holds over 16 g of natural sugar, and with its high glycemic index, that sugar floods your bloodstream fast. Eaten late at night, that sugar isn't used as energy. It lingers, putting silent pressure on your circulatory system while you sleep. And then there's the acid. Pineapple is one of the most acidic fruits in the American diet. It can silently trigger acid reflux, even in people without typical heartburn symptoms. In seniors, that reflux can lead to microaspiration acid entering the airways, which changes oxygen flow to the brain during sleep. And that's been linked to early morning strokes, the most dangerous kind. Let me tell you about Mrs. Clara Townsend, 77, a retired choir director from North Carolina. Disciplined. Lively. A fan of clean eating. She avoided sweets, but every evening after dinner, she'd enjoy a few slices of fresh pineapple. One morning, she woke up confused. Slurred speech. Wobbly steps. Her daughter noticed the change immediately. A CT scan revealed a mild stroke in the posterior circulation of her brain, impacting speech and balance. Blood tests showed elevated glucose, nighttime reflux irritation, and abnormal platelet behavior. It wasn't just one cause. It was the perfect storm. Acid reflux. Sugar spike. Bromelain's effect on clotting. All from a fruit she believed was helping her. And she's not alone. As we age, digestion slows, blood vessels thin, and sleep becomes more fragile. Eating acidic, sugary fruit at night can set off vascular spasms just as the brain is most vulnerable. What should you do? If you love pineapple, eat it earlier in the day, and only in small portions. Never eat it on an empty stomach. Avoid pairing it with blood-thinning medications unless cleared by your doctor. And most importantly, never eat pineapple before bed. Your brain needs peace at night, not surprises. Because at this stage of life, even a single fruit can quietly shift the balance of your health. If you found this eye-opening, wait until we talk about watermelon, a fruit praised for hydration, yet under certain conditions, it may actually dehydrate your brain and dangerously drop your blood pressure while you sleep. Let's move on to fruit number 4, watermelon, when hydration turns hazardous. If you're still here and this resonates with you, drop a 1 in the comments to let me know you're listening. Now, let's continue with part 4. Fruit number 4, watermelon. There's no fruit more beloved on a hot American summer day than watermelon. Chilled slices on the 4th of July. Seed spitting contests with the grandkids. That crisp, juicy bite after working in the garden all afternoon. It feels harmless. Refreshing. Even healthy. And yes, watermelon is mostly water. But for older adults, especially those with heart issues or on certain medications, it can quietly tip the body toward dehydration and even stroke. Not through sugar. Not through acid. But by what it removes from your system. You see, watermelon is a natural diuretic. It makes you urinate more. That's not a big deal for a 25-year-old. But if you're 75, with borderline blood pressure, a sluggish circulatory system, or taking water pills or ACE inhibitors, frequent nighttime urination can silently drain your body of fluid. And that's one of the most underestimated stroke triggers I've seen in my neurological practice. Here's why that matters. When you're dehydrated, your blood thickens. Like syrup trying to move through narrow pipes. That thicker blood moves slower, giving it more time to form clots. Especially in arteries already hardened by age. And your brain? It's incredibly sensitive to even brief drops in oxygen and flow. Especially at night, when your blood pressure naturally dips. Let me introduce you to Mr. Howard Larkin, 82, a retired postal worker from Indiana. He was doing everything right, walking daily, avoiding refined sugar, eating clean. His evening ritual? 2 or 3 thick slices of watermelon after dinner to cool off and stay hydrated. But what he didn't realize was that he was also on diuretics prescribed for mild heart failure. Between the pills and the watermelon, his body lost too much fluid overnight. One morning, he woke up dizzy. Tried to stand. Collapsed. At the ER, his blood pressure was dangerously low. His labs showed thickened hemoglobin, clear signs of dehydration. Brain scans confirmed a mild ischemic stroke, likely caused by a clot that formed in narrowed arteries while he slept. The watermelon, meant to hydrate, had done the opposite. And the worst part? The stroke affected his coordination and balance. Howard survived, but now needs a cane, and can't go far without help. Just a week earlier, he was still mowing his own lawn. I'm not telling you this to scare you. I'm telling you because most older adults don't know that healthy foods can turn harmful depending on your meds, your age, and when you eat them. Watermelon late in the day, especially if you're on fluid-reducing medications, can create the perfect storm. Thickened blood. Low pressure. Slowed circulation. 3 silent invitations for a stroke. So if you love watermelon, be smart. Eat it earlier in the day, ideally before 2 p.m. Pair it with a pinch of salt or electrolyte water. If you're on diuretics, ask your doctor before making it a daily habit. And always listen to your body. Morning dizziness. Waking up confused. Dry mouth overnight. These aren't random. They're quiet warning signs. Because even a fruit that's 92% water can become a thief of brain health if you're not careful. Now if that surprised you, wait until we talk about oranges. Bright, cheerful, and a symbol of health in nearly every American household. But tucked inside that sunny juice is a chemical that could interfere with your heart meds. And quietly invite something far more dangerous than you'd ever expect. Fruit number 5, oranges. For decades, the orange has been a breakfast icon. A glass of fresh juice beside toast. Slices in a lunchbox. A whole orange tucked lovingly into a Christmas stocking. Vitamin C, immune boost. Natural. Wholesome. What could go wrong? Well, quite a lot, actually, if you're over 60 and taking heart or blood pressure medications. The issue isn't just the sugar, though a large orange or a full glass of juice can spike blood glucose. It's something far sneakier, furanocoumarin. Furanocoumarin is a natural compound found in citrus fruits, especially grapefruits, Seville oranges, and even some regular sweet oranges. And it can seriously interfere with how your body metabolizes certain medications. Here's what that means. If you're taking statins, calcium channel blockers, or blood thinners, this compound can either cause your body to retain too much of the drug, making it toxic, or eliminate it too quickly, rendering it ineffective. And either outcome is dangerous. I've seen it happen again and again in older stroke patients. They thought they were eating clean. But their fruit was working against their medicine. Silently altering blood flow, spiking drug levels, or destabilizing vessel tone. One such case was Mr. Elmer Bryant, 79, a retired bus driver from Georgia. Warm smile. Kind heart. He was on atorvastatin for cholesterol and amlodipine for blood pressure. Every morning, he proudly drank a tall glass of fresh squeezed orange juice. His glass of sunshine, he called it. What he didn't know was that furanocoumarin in that juice was blocking his liver from breaking down the medication. His blood pressure meds built up, lowering his pressure far beyond safe limits. At the same time, his statin stayed in his bloodstream too long, causing vessel inflammation and damage. One morning, after a few days of feeling just a little off, Elmer stood up and collapsed. Rushed to the hospital, he presented with slurred speech and confusion. Scans showed a small ischemic stroke. Blood work revealed dangerously high drug levels. Not from overdosing, but from interference caused by that innocent-looking juice. When I explained it to Elmer and his wife, their faces fell. He whispered, "All my life I thought orange juice was good for me. And it was, once. But aging changes the rules. What nourished you at 40 can sabotage you at 70, especially when strong medications are involved. That's why grapefruit, Seville oranges, and even regular oranges should be consumed with caution. The liver slows down with age. And food-drug interactions become more likely. So what should you do? If you love oranges, enjoy them in moderation. Avoid large glasses of juice. Don't eat citrus within a few hours of taking prescription meds. And always ask your doctor whether citrus is safe with your medication. Because what's in your fruit bowl matters just as much as what's in your pill box. One daily habit, repeated over time, can quietly build up to a devastating event. If this worried you, it should. But worry is not weakness, it's awareness. And awareness gives you power. The next fruit we'll explore? One that hospitals often serve with meals, praised for its fiber and energy boost. But it could be quietly wearing away your brain's protective lining. Let's talk about apples, and the sugar trap no one warned you about. Fruit number 6, apples. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. You've heard it since childhood. Crunchy, juicy, and comforting, it's the fruit of hospitals, lunchboxes, and well-meaning grandchildren trying to keep grandma healthy. But for those over 60, especially anyone managing blood pressure, blood sugar, or early signs of cognitive decline, apples may not be as innocent as they seem. The truth is, not all apples are created equal. And the wrong apple, at the wrong time, can quietly trigger blood sugar chaos, setting the stage for a stroke you never saw coming. You see, many modern apples, Fuji, Honeycrisp, Gala, have been bred not for nutrition, but for sweetness. That sweetness comes at a cost. These apples have a high glycemic index, meaning they dump sugar into your bloodstream faster than an aging body can process. And when eaten alone, without protein or healthy fats, they spark a sharp blood sugar spike, followed by a rapid crash. That roller coaster? It doesn't just sap your energy. It affects your blood pressure, inflames vessel linings, and thickens your blood. As glucose surges, your blood becomes more acidic, stickier. Insulin rushes in. And over time, repeated spikes cause vessels to constrict and damage the fragile inner walls, especially those feeding the brain. Tiny tears form. Clots follow. In younger people, the body patches them quickly. But in older adults, whose vessels are already narrowed and stiff, those clots don't just heal. They block. Let me tell you about Mrs. Louise Hammond, 81, from Pennsylvania. Active, disciplined, a lifelong walker. Every afternoon, she'd enjoy one large Honeycrisp apple as her healthy snack. No chips. No cookies. Just fruit. But what she didn't know was that she had early insulin resistance. And those daily sugar surges were quietly overloading her aging vascular system. At first, it was subtle, blurry vision in the evenings, slight pressure in her head when standing. Then, one night while making dinner, her speech suddenly garbled. Her daughter rushed her to the ER. Scans confirmed a mild stroke. Blood tests showed unstable glucose, inflamed vessel linings, and signs of microvascular strain. Her medications were working, but the sugar roller coaster from her daily apple had silently laid the groundwork for clot formation. She recovered, thankfully. But now, she sees apples differently. Not as villains, but as foods that require awareness. Here's my advice to every older adult. Choose lower sugar varieties like Granny Smith. These contain more polyphenol, brain protective compounds, and less sugar. Always pair apples with protein or healthy fats like almond butter or cheese to slow digestion. And never eat a sweet apple on an empty stomach, especially at night. Your brain doesn't need a sugar spike at bedtime. It needs stability. Because even a fruit as familiar as the apple can quietly create the conditions for clot formation. As sugar spikes, vessels constrict, and the body begins patching tears with silent clots. Clots that wait until one day, they don't. And if that shook you, just wait. The next fruit is beloved by older adults, praised for heart health, antioxidants, and anti-inflammatory powers. But hiding inside its ruby red flesh is a natural chemical that may thin your blood too much. And if you're on medication, that could be the line between safety and a brain bleed. Let's talk about cherries and why too many can quietly tip the scale toward danger. Fruit number 7, cherries. Cherries, vibrant, delicious, and long celebrated as one of the healthiest fruits in the American diet. Doctors recommend them for joint pain. Health magazines feature them for heart health. They show up in yogurt, salads, and summer desserts. They even sound like medicine: antioxidants, polyphenol, anthocyanins. But there's a quiet risk buried in their sweetness, especially for older adults on blood-thinning medications. The culprit? A natural compound called salicylate. Salicylate is chemically similar to aspirin. It thins the blood. In small doses, it may reduce inflammation. But for anyone taking warfarin, Plavix, or even daily low-dose aspirin, adding salicylate-rich foods can push your blood beyond safe limits. The result? Blood that's too thin to clot. Leaky, fragile vessels. And in worst cases, a hemorrhagic stroke or brain bleed. You may never suspect it came from fruit. But I've seen it happen. Take Mr. Daniel Rhodes, 84, a retired train operator from Illinois. Years ago, he had a mild heart attack. He was prescribed a statin, a blood pressure med, and daily aspirin. Wanting to stay off sugary desserts, he turned to cherries, his natural dessert. Every evening after dinner, a small bowl of cherries. At first, no problem. But then came dull headaches. Then dizziness. And one morning, confusion and vomiting. At the ER, scans revealed a small brain hemorrhage. Not from trauma. Not from high blood pressure. His blood had become too thin to clot. One tiny capillary in his brain had ruptured. The dosage of his medication hadn't changed. His vitals were stable. The only change? Weeks of added salicylate from his cherry bowl. That's the danger. It builds slowly, quietly. You feel fine until you don't. And once a brain bleed begins, it's incredibly hard to control. Recovery is uncertain. Some lose speech. Some lose movement. Some never return to full independence. So here's what I want you to remember. Even natural foods interact with medication. Your 80-year-old body doesn't process things like it did at 40. What helped inflammation in youth can unbalance your entire system in age. If you love cherries, eat them sparingly. Avoid cherry juice, concentrates, or dried cherry snacks. Never combine them with blood thinners unless your doctor gives the green light. Because what seems small to you might be enormous inside your aging bloodstream. If you thought that was surprising, wait until the next fruit. It's often placed in fancy fruit bowls at senior brunches. It's bright, fragrant, and praised for its antioxidants. But it also ranks number 1 in pesticide residue. And for older brains, those toxins don't rinse off. They build up. Let's talk about strawberries and what's really hiding behind that glistening red skin. If you're still with me, drop a 1 in the comments. Now, let's move to fruit number 8. Fruit number 8, strawberries. They look innocent red, vibrant, shaped like little hearts. Strawberries are the symbol of health, served in hospitals, blended into brain-boosting smoothies, laid out at senior breakfasts across America. But for older adults, the truth about strawberries is far less sweet. This beloved fruit may be quietly increasing your risk of stroke, inflammation, and long-term neurotoxicity. In ways most doctors never mention. Let's start with what almost no one talks about. Strawberries are one of the most heavily pesticide-sprayed fruits in American agriculture. Year after year, they top the Environmental Working Group's Dirty Dozen, a list of produce with the highest pesticide residue, even after washing. And in older adults, where detox systems slow with age, those chemicals don't flush out easily. They accumulate in tissues, in fat, and yes, in the brain. Some of the pesticides used on conventional strawberries are neurotoxic, meaning they directly damage brain cells and increase oxidative stress in aging neurons. Over time, this weakens the fragile walls of tiny blood vessels, especially in the brain's white matter areas most vulnerable to stroke, memory loss, and cognitive decline. Once the damage begins, the body responds with inflammation and eventually, clots. But the risk doesn't stop at pesticides. Strawberries also contain purines, natural compounds that convert to uric acid in the body. In those with a history of gout, kidney disease, or vascular inflammation, that uric acid buildup can trigger flares, increase blood pressure, and again, raise clot risk. Let me tell you about Mrs. Elaine Carter, 80, from Michigan. She adored strawberries. Every June, she'd pick them fresh and freeze them for winter smoothies. After dinner, she'd have a small bowl believing, as many do, that strawberries are heart smart. Elaine had mild hypertension and took a diuretic. She also had occasional joint pain, but thought little of it. Over time, she noticed morning dizziness, swollen knuckles. Then one morning, her right hand went numb and her words came out garbled. A brain scan confirmed a minor ischemic stroke. Her lab showed high uric acid, signs of oxidative stress, and low-grade chronic inflammation. What she thought was a protective habit had quietly become a daily risk. Small, repeated doses of pesticide residue and purine, layering pressure onto an already aging system. Elaine survived. But she lives now with mild memory lapses and tingling in her right hand. When she said through tears, "I thought I was doing everything right." It reminded me, context is everything in aging nutrition. Even superfoods can become toxic when combined with the wrong timing, medications, or conditions. So if you love strawberries, here's what to do. Always choose organic. Wash thoroughly before eating. Don't eat them every day. Don't rely on them as your primary source of antioxidants. If you have a history of gout, kidney issues, or take blood pressure meds, talk to your doctor before eating them regularly. Be cautious with frozen or pre-blended strawberry smoothies, especially imported ones. Many come from farms with weak pesticide regulations. Because what you don't know can quietly harm you. Until one day, a blood clot steals your words, your balance, or your independence. And if strawberries surprised you, wait until we talk about one more fruit. Elegant. Tropical. Promoted as heart-friendly in health cafes and wellness aisles. But behind its golden glow lies a sugar overload, and a chemical trap that may interfere with your medication. Let's talk about mango and why it might not belong on your plate anymore. Fruit number 9, mango. For many older adults, mango feels like a reward. A treat. A golden slice of sunshine, sweet and soft, something you've earned. You see it in fruit salads, blended in health shakes, or dried and packaged as a heart-healthy snack. It looks like nature's dessert. But for aging bodies, especially those on heart, blood pressure, or cholesterol meds, mango may be a hidden saboteur. Here's the hard truth. Mango is one of the highest sugar fruits in the American diet. Just 1 cup of ripe mango contains nearly 45 grams of natural sugar. That's more than a glazed donut. Unlike complex carbs, mango sugar hits fast. That leads to a blood sugar spike, an insulin rush, and a crash. For those with insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, or unstable blood pressure, this roller coaster strains the entire vascular system, especially in the brain. Surging sugar triggers inflammation. Vessels constrict. Circulation slows. Tiny tears form in fragile brain arteries. And when that happens, the body responds by patching them with clots. That's natural. But in narrowed, stiff vessels, that patch can become a plug. And that plug can become a stroke. But mango's risk goes beyond sugar. Mango also contains natural compounds that interfere with liver enzymes, especially cytochrome P450, the same enzyme group that processes many prescription drugs. One compound, mangiferin, may slow this enzyme down. That means your medication, whether for cholesterol, arrhythmia, or blood pressure, stays in your system longer. It builds up. And that can trigger overdose effects without changing your dose. Let me tell you about Mr. William Booker, 83, a retired firefighter from Nevada. He exercised daily, ate clean, and replaced cookies with dried mango slices, thinking it was the smarter snack. He was on meds for high blood pressure and AFib. After a few weeks, he noticed morning dizziness. Then one day, he collapsed stepping out of bed. His wife found him pale, confused, with a slight facial droop. At the hospital, scans showed a minor ischemic stroke. His blood pressure had dropped too low during the night. And his med levels were abnormally high. The likely culprit? Daily dried mango, silently overloading his liver and saturating his bloodstream with medications. The sugar surge didn't help either, it added fuel to the clotting fire. Mr. Booker survived. But now lives with short-term memory issues and impaired coordination. A daily habit, seemingly healthy, nearly cost him everything. That's why I urge older adults. Think twice about tropical fruits. They hide their danger in sweetness. Here's what to do if you love mango. Eat just a few slices, and only during the day. Never eat mango at night or on an empty stomach. Always pair with protein or healthy fat to slow sugar absorption. And if you're on heart, blood pressure, or cholesterol meds, consult your doctor first. Because at this stage of life, the margin for error is razor thin. What your body handled at May 30th destabilize it at 80. Even if it's just a fruit. Final thoughts, the truth about fruit, aging, and protecting your brain. Now that you've heard about 9 seemingly healthy fruits that could quietly raise your risk of stroke, you might be asking, so what's left? What can we still eat that feeds the brain, protects the heart, and still brings joy to our plates? Don't worry. In this final section, I'll walk you through foods that are truly brain-safe. These support memory, balance, and medication effectiveness, no expensive powders, no mystery supplements. Just real, whole food. Simple. Grounded in wisdom. Aging changes everything. For most of your life, you were told fruit is nature's gift. A natural medicine. A friend to the heart and brain. But the truth, especially for those over 60, is more complex. And understanding that truth could be the difference between resilience and decline. As we age, the body changes. The kidneys slow down. The liver loses efficiency in clearing medication. Blood vessels grow fragile. And the brain becomes acutely sensitive to even small changes in blood sugar, blood pressure, and clotting factors. Which means, every bite now matters more than ever. Good intentions alone are not enough. Many older adults develop eating habits that unknowingly put the brain at risk. A banana with morning pills. A handful of grapes. Pineapple after dinner. Orange juice at sunrise. These habits seem harmless. But beneath the surface, they can trigger a slow storm of inflammation, blood thickening, vessel stiffening, or, worst of all, clot formation that blocks blood flow to the brain. As a brain specialist, I've seen the heartbreaking results. Patients who woke up fine, only to end the day in the ICU. People who lost their words. Their ability to walk. Their memories. Sometimes permanently. Not from trauma. Not from an accident. But from a clot no bigger than a grain of rice lodged in the wrong place at the wrong time. The tragedy? Many of these strokes were preventable, not with more drugs, but with more awareness of how aging changes how our bodies handle food. But here's the good news. Not all fruit is dangerous. In fact, when chosen wisely and eaten at the right time, some fruits can become powerful allies. So what should you reach for? Number 1, berries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries. Low in sugar. Rich in antioxidants and polyphenol. They protect blood vessels, reduce inflammation, support memory, and stabilize blood sugar. Number 2, green apples, like Granny Smith. Lower glycemic than sweet varieties. Packed with flavonoids that support brain health. Best enjoyed with protein or healthy fat, like nut butter or cheese. Number 3, avocados. Yes, they're fruit. High in heart-healthy fats, they help regulate blood pressure and support nerve function. Though rich in potassium, they absorb more slowly, avoiding sudden spikes. Number 4, lemons and limes. Not for snacking, but as gentle detoxifiers and flavor enhancers. Add to water to promote hydration and liver function. Number 5, pomegranate, in moderation. Powerful antioxidant properties. But drink only diluted juice or small amounts, especially if you're on heart meds. Timing is everything. When you eat fruit is just as important as what you eat. Eat fruit in the morning or early afternoon. Never eat fruit on an empty stomach. Always pair with protein or healthy fat to prevent spikes and crashes. Avoid fruit before bed, circulation slows at night, making it the worst time for sugar or acid surges. This is not a warning to live in fear. This is a reminder to honor your body's season. You are not weak, you are wiser. But wisdom means knowing your body has changed. You don't have to give up sweetness. You just have to meet it with intelligence, dignity, and care. You've made it to this chapter of life through grit, grace, and self-respect. Don't let a seemingly harmless fruit habit become the thief that robs you of health. Each food choice, even a snack, can bring you closer to strength or vulnerability. So read the labels. Ask your doctor. Think not just about today's meal, but what it may do to your body over the weeks and months to come. Because now, you're not just eating to live. You're eating to think clearly. To stand steadily. To remain fully you. And with the right food, the right timing, and the right awareness, you can. Stay sharp. Stay grounded. And remind your brain, every day, I'm still here, and I still choose life. If this video helped you, leave a comment with the number 1. If not, drop a 0. Your feedback matters. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more life-changing insights like this. Thank you for watching, and may you live with strength, clarity, and joy.